Welcome to the Explainer. There's this one single force that can completely change your financial future, and today we're going to break it down, especially for us here in Singapore. It's called compounding, and really getting a handle on this can make all the difference for your retirement.
People say Einstein said this, and honestly, it's the key to everything we're about to talk about. This isn't just some clever quote. It's literally the rulebook for making money grow. Once you get this, you'll understand how to make your money finally start working for you instead of the other way around.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll unpack what this eighth wonder really is. Then I'll show you a super simple trick to see its power. We'll talk about why time is your absolute best friend in this game. Then we'll get practical with the specific tools we have here in Singapore and wrap it all up with an action plan you can use. Let's jump in. Okay, so what in the world is this eighth wonder? Well, you've probably heard it called the snowball effect, and that is the perfect way to picture it.
Let's break it down. It's really simple. Your money makes money, and then that money starts making its own money. It's a cycle. That first bit of interest you earn doesn't just sit there. It gets added back to your original pile, making your snowball bigger. So the next time you earn interest, it's on a bigger amount. It just keeps feeding itself and growing.
Now, I know this might sound a bit like magic, but trust me, it's all just math. And there's this super simple trick that makes the whole thing surprisingly predictable. Okay, follow me on this. You start with $100. After year one at 4%, you've got $104. Simple enough. But here's where it gets cool. In year two, you earn 4% on the entire $104. So you get $4.16 in interest, not just $4. See that? That extra 16 cents? That's the magic right there. It doesn't seem like much, but that little extra is the tiny engine that drives this whole thing forward. So how can you figure this out without pulling out a crazy spreadsheet? Well, there's this awesome little mental shortcut. It's called the rule of 72. All you do is take the number 72 and divide it by your interest rate. The answer is roughly how many years it'll take for your money to double. It's that easy. And this is where that rule gets really real for us here in Singapore. Just look at this. If your money is just sitting there in an uninvested SRS account, it's earning a tiny 0.05%. At that rate, it would take, get this, 1,440 years to double. I mean, come on, basically never. Now look at your CPF special account at 4%. Your money doubles in 18 years. Way better. But if you invest it and get something like the market average of 7%, you could double it in about 10 years. The difference isn't just big, it's absolutely life-changing. Okay, so this leads us to what is, without a doubt, the most important ingredient in this whole recipe, and that's time. The interest rate is the engine, sure, but time is the fuel. And the more fuel you have, the further and faster you can go. All right, check this out. This is one of my favorite examples ever. You've got Adrian and Bernice. Adrian invests $50,000 only in his 20s, then stops completely. Bernice starts later at 30, but she invests way more, $150,000 over her career, 3 times the money. So who has more at age 60? You'd think Bernice, right? Nope. Adrian, the early bird, actually ends up with slightly more. That extra decade of compounding his money was more powerful than all the extra cash Bernice threw out it later. How crazy is that?
So what does this mean for you? Well, think of it this way. For every 10 years you wait to start investing, the amount of money you need to save every single month pretty much doubles to reach the same retirement goal. Starting at 25 instead of 35 could literally cut your required monthly savings in half. Every year you put it off, the mountain you have to climb just gets steeper and steeper.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's get practical. Let's bring this right back home to Singapore. How do we actually put this incredible power to work? Well, we've got an amazing toolkit available to us. Your CPF, the SRS, and simple investments like ETFs. First up, your CPF. Think of it as your own personal compounding machine, but you gotta know which buttons to press. Your ordinary account, the OA, gets you 2.5%. That's okay. But your special account, the SA, gets a guaranteed 4%, and even more on your first 60 grand. That jump from 2.5% to 4%, that's a huge lever you can pull to speed things up. So how do you actually pull that lever? Well, there are 3 really smart moves you can make. 1, you can top up your SA directly through the RSTU scheme, which gives you that higher return and a nice tax break. 2, if you have money in your OA that you're not using for your house, you can transfer it over to the SA to get that higher rate.
And 3, here's a pro tip, make any top-ups in January. Why? Because then you earn interest for the entire year on that money. It's like giving your snowball an immediate head start. Okay, next up, the SRS. It's an amazing tool for tax savings, but there's this one massive, massive mistake that so many people make. They put the money in, and then they just leave it there. And what does that uninvested cash earn? A tiny 0.05%. And we already know what that means for your money's growth, basically nothing.
And the cost of that little mistake? It's huge. Just look at this. Imagine 2 people each put $5,000 a year into SRS for 20 years. One leaves it as cash. The other invests it and gets a 5% return. The investor ends up with around $170,000. The one who left it in cash? Just over $100,000. That's almost $70,000 left on the table. So yeah, investing your SRS funds, it's not really a suggestion, it's a must-do.
So you're probably asking, okay, so what do I invest in? Well, a really great simple starting point for your SRS or any cash you have is low-cost exchange-traded funds, or ETFs. They let you tap into the whole market to aim for that 7% average return we talked about. And, this is key, their fees are super low. And that matters because every single dollar you don't pay in fees is another dollar that stays in your pocket, compounding for you.
All right, we've covered the what and the why. Now for the how-to. Let's build your personal game plan, and you can tweak this depending on where you are in life. Look, this isn't some strict rule you have to follow, but it's a really smart framework. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you've got time on your side, so you can go for growth, maybe 80 to 90% in stocks or equities. As you hit your 40s and 50s, you start to dial that back a bit, looking for more of a balance. And then, as you get close to retirement, the goal changes. It's not about growing your money anymore. It's about protecting the nest egg you've worked so hard to build.
Okay, so if you forget everything else from today, please remember these 3 golden rules. Number 1, start early. Even a little bit makes a huge difference over time. Number 2, be consistent. Set it and forget it. Automate your savings and investments. And number 3, invest wisely. You don't need to be a genius, just stick with simple, low-cost diversified options. That's it. That's the formula. At the end of the day, this incredible power of compounding, it's not some complicated secret just for finance gurus. It's a tool that's right there, available to you right now. It all starts with that very first dollar you decide to invest in your future self. That dollar is the tiny snowball that starts everything. It's the most powerful dollar you will ever invest. So the only real question left is, when are you going to send it rolling?